And welcome back. Today we're flying out the La-7. Shavax as well as Hispanos got buffed a little while ago, and now these planes are actually viable again. A lot of Russian planes are extremely good right now, and same goes for the Brits. But today we're not going to be talking about the Brits, we're going to be talking about the La-7. For the later war Shavax, the one with the red and yellow shells, or the tracer one, or the yellow belts, whatever language you are using, they do by far the most amount of damage. For you today I got quite a bit of footage. We're going to start off with a 7-kill game, then we're going to starfight 3 guys at once, then we're going to go into 2 dogfights and then some more starfighting versus 3 guys at once. And then at the end we're going to, well, 2v1 again with some more starfighting. A lot of starfighting today, and it's not because this thing is particularly great at it. It is because the entry speed is mostly a lot higher than your enemies. And that's because this plane is extremely fast below 3 kilometers. At about 3.8 kilometers your web will run out and you will lose a very large chunk of your performance. So I do like to keep it below that 4 kilometer ceiling. This however does not mean you should stop climbing once you hit 3.8. Altitude is more valuable than having a little bit of extra speed. If they dive on you, you will be pressed down all the way to the deck. And the only reason I stopped climbing here is because that wyvern over there kind of presented himself. I do not want to deal with that thing in the long run. That thing goes a lot faster than I do, and he will counter basically all the ability I have to disengage. So I wanted to get him out, and I knew that he was trying to pitch up, trying to turn into people, and that thing loses a lot of speed once it starts turning. So I tried to get in gun range. I managed to get within 1 kilometer or just over 1 kilometer, and I managed to blow his tail off. So I'm just going to be ignoring him from now on out. And now we are at 3 kilometers, and instead of climbing right here, I want to actually start building up my speed. There's 2 B-17s there, I'm not too worried about those. The 109 F4s on my altitude, and that's a J-26 on my ass. Not too worried about the J-26, but the 109 F4 is pretty dangerous. It's very close to you in a 1v1. It will beat you if he plays his cards right, but at high speeds I might have a little bit of a chance. So what I want to do right now is get this J-26 a little bit further away from the 109 by simply running. The J-26 outruns the 109, so I can open up that gap just a little bit in the hope that I have enough time to kill this guy before the 109 comes to me. He cuts his throttle, I can hear it from his propeller and his engine, so I'm just going to be sticking this fight as long as I can. We're already getting the shot here, he's completely out of energy, we are dead on this 6, and now we just have to make sure that that 109 doesn't get too close. The J-26 turns back in here into the 109, so I need to kill him in this pass basically, and we do so. He is now above us, he has quite a bit of energy, and he will start catching us. So I can do 2 things right here, and one of them is simply run away because I'm much faster than this guy, and he will have troubles getting guns on me at high speed because he only has that 1 gun in the center mount, as well as a pretty poor roll rate if he doesn't use his rudder, but when you use the rudder it's kind of annoying to aim. But I don't have time for that. It's Poland, tickets go down quickly, and there's multiple enemies closing in here, so I want to kill him as quickly as I can. So we are gonna go into a reversal. I'm a little bit slower than him, and I do turn better at higher speeds. I compress a little bit less, and I'm gonna be using the fact that I'm a little bit slower to instantly get back on his 6. He has more energy than me now, but I have the position. If he plays this right, I'm in a little bit of a pickle, but he flies it a little bit too straight and he gets cancelled by Twitter. So now we want to reset here, we want to regain our speed a little bit because I have no idea how far away the enemies are. So we go into a little bit of a dive to at least go to 350, and then we observe where the enemies are. See the Spitfire, not the biggest problem in the world, especially at this altitude, but I see a second dot next to him, and at this point I'm a little bit worried what it might be. So I'm just gonna go side on. And I do this because, well, I have no idea how fast they are, because they have been flying straight for us. Well, a little bit I think. I'm not really sure how fast they are going, and at this point I just want to use the strength of my plane and stall these guys out. F6F isn't the biggest problem, but he's decently fast, and together with a Spitfire they can really create a problem for me, that if I start fighting one of them, chances are that the second one will get guns on me. So I want to split these guys up a little bit, and I will be doing that by going straight, going fast. The F6F is faster than the Spitfire at this very instant as well, so what I can try to do now is get the F6F a little bit closer than the Spitfire, start the dogfight with the F6F, and then have a little bit of distance between the Spitfire so that he doesn't get guns on me. Depends entirely on what the Spitfire is going to be doing, so I need to observe a little bit here, but the Spitfire is trying to cut me off to the runway, and understandably so, because a lot of people will try to run to the airfield now. But I'm gonna use this to my advantage and just turn the other way. And now he kind of created the separation I wanted, because he tried to anticipate my move. So now we just put it into a very shallow climb. I don't want to go too close to 4 kilometers because I do need this extra power. But the F6F right now isn't going very fast. I'm only going 370 IAS, that is, and he is not really catching me despite him cutting my flight path off. So I know that he's not going very fast. He's probably going about 320, maybe 300 right now, and he breaks off a little bit, probably trying to bait me into head-on. And that sign is death warrant, because right now I can simply dive back down on him, pick up a lot of speed, and he is not picking up any speed. And we are gonna go put it into a vertical. The Spitfire is 4 kilometers away, so I do have a little bit of time. And because of all the extra energy I picked up in that dive, I can now go into the vertical and drop back right on top of him. He's going very, very slow. Shavax make short work of him. And now we are gonna go and proceed to kill the Spitfire. Spitfire is a little bit of a different story at the F6F, but with a little bit of extra speed he might actually be a little bit easier to kill. And this sounds really weird, because the Spitfire is definitely the better plane here. The thing is, the Spitfire is much slower, so I can fight him going much faster. And he's coming in now. He's not turning at me yet, or shooting at me yet, so I'm just going to be spraying in the head-on, really to tell him, please don't come head-on with me, because I'm shooting first. He does so anyway. I'm not sure why he wants to take that. But I see it's a Mach 16, so we are just going to put it into a little bit of a spiral. The 16 turns worse, loses more speed, and stalls a bit quicker, so we can stall fight this guy relatively easily. We don't want to go too straight like that 109 did and end up right in his guns. We want to go a little bit more flat and then pass right over his guns. And now there is very little he can do. He doesn't have the turn rate, he doesn't have the energy, and he doesn't have the speed to get away from me. Even if I miss this pass, I can simply either run away or potentially even go back up. But there's no need to do that, because we kill his entire plane with a short burst, and that's going to be kill number 5. And because people liked me killing bombers, here you go. We're going to be shooting at a Sterling. Not the biggest problem. I like to shoot center mass at the start, because it might kill a few of his gunners, and it does so. So now we're going to have a little bit of a poor aim here. I'm trying to kill his wing here, trying to get a few hits. Shavax are very good right now, but do keep in mind, versus bombers, they are still not the most consistent. Sometimes you'll shoot an entire BV 238 in half by shooting his center mass, and the other time you'll hit 300 rounds and only get a crit. So again, we shoot center mass a little bit, and I noticed that a lot of his gunners suddenly stopped firing, which probably indicates that they're all dead. So we try to get in front of him, shoot the last few rounds, and hope that we kill him. He's very slow right now. There's the kill. There's the result screen. Sorry it's so short, I accidentally clicked through it. Here we go, a few games earlier. We have a Firefly, which isn't the biggest problem in the world, but he turns very well. We have a P63, not much of a problem at all, and a Typhoon. The Typhoon is kind of scary. It's extremely fast and it turns extremely well. Don't underestimate the turn rate of the Typhoon, but it doesn't really roll at high speed, and it doesn't have to pass climb rate. And we want to use that. Dodge the head-on with a P63, and I'm kind of just gonna be ignoring him. He's way too slow to do anything, and I'm just setting up for the Typhoon. So we go straight here. We don't want to waste too much energy, so stay right above him. Abuse the fact he doesn't roll very well, abuse the fact that he's gonna be stalling out here, and we are just gonna be dodging his guns by turning the other way. I don't want to take that head-on because he's going to win it. I'm not even going to get a shot, but by going up a second time, he didn't really regain any speed there, but he's able to pull back up again, but he won't have enough energy to actually complete his loop. So he's just gonna do, well, a pro gamer move, I guess, and he's going to be stalling out in my guns. Go ahead on with the Firefly. Kind of the same deal as with the Typhoon, except he's a lot slower and he has less engine power. So I just dodged the head-on by rolling left to right a little bit. The P63 stalled himself out, going for the 190. Not the hardest shot in the world. I want to kill him relatively quick because I want to fight this Firefly, and I can run away from the Firefly now and wait for my team to come in. But that's boring, so we are just going to be dogfighting this guy. Dodge below his guns, and we go into a little bit of a spiral. And again, you don't want to go straight up. The energy retention in the straight vertical isn't the best in this thing, but if you keep it a little bit shallow, just like this, it keeps his energy quite well, and the turn rate is good. So I stall this guy out, he's completely out of energy, we dunk him, and that's gonna be game. We are gonna kill some guy that's running away from us, that's actually so AFK he didn't even see us, but I'm not gonna be including that in the video. And here's another Hellcat, and this time it's the 3.7 version. A little bit of a full down tier going on. And you want to be careful of that plane, because it might not be the best energy wise. It turns ridiculously well in a downward spiral. So, we dodge his guns there, and what we are going to be doing now is picking up speed. He's on my 6, he's way too close to really do anything, and if I try to pull any direction without some speed, he's simply going to gun me down. The Hellcat, however, does compress pretty badly, especially again in the roll department, and this thing doesn't really do that. I do want to make sure that I don't overspeed and rip my wings off, because it does overspeed at around 720, don't know the exact speed. But we are going to be cutting throttle here. We're going to be rolling as much as possible, and you can tell he's struggling to keep up. He's going to pass in front of us. We missed the shot, but now I'm on his 6, and he's going to be needing a lot of time and energy to get me off him, and he doesn't have any of that, but instead he just goes straight up, and this is a mistake a lot of guys make, and that's they try to disengage from the fight when the enemy has too much energy, and you just kind of hand your ass to them. I put him into a flat spin. I already see that Yak 9 coming in, trying to steal it, and he rips his wing off trying to do so. Good job, mister, you did it. And I'm just gonna say that's kill number 2. And there comes the Yak 3. And the Yak 3 is something you don't really want to fight. You are faster than it, by a decent margin. Your rip speed is about the same, so if he dives on you, you are in a little bit of a pickle. But in a straight up dogfight, you're not gonna have a good time. You can win it. It's not an unwinnable fight. It's not like a 0 or something. But the Yak 3 definitely has the advantage here. It's a little bit like the 109 F4. Except this thing is even a little bit better. So we check here. We see how good he is. See if I can force an error. See if I can do something. He's clearly catching me. And he still has some altitude. I don't have much altitude left. And I'm already going 600 here. And he's not much slower than me. So chances are he's going to catch me regardless. So what I want to do right now is make him pick up even more speed. Because the Yak 3 does one thing, however, and that's compress. At low speed it turns extremely well. At higher speeds, not so much. So what do? We use his speed against him. He's going to compress here, and if he does stick it, he might actually rip his wings off, unless he throttle drops. He doesn't do neither, and he does the right thing, he goes up. But he does the same mistake as everyone has been doing so far. And that's simply go too straight. And I'm going to keep getting you cancelled by Twitter, because it's not going to be working out. If you have so much more energy than someone, just do a loop. A flat loop. It's very boring, I know, but the flat turn makes it so that you don't lose all your speed, while the enemy is losing his speed trying to pitch up to you. Doing this will secure your position, and then once they stall out, you have enough energy to just dive back down on them. And you're not in a vulnerable spot, like where you go straight up, you go very slow, and if the enemy has decent to good aim, chances are he's just going to blow you out of the air. Here comes another Hellcat. He's below me, he has less energy, I don't want to take the head on, so I wait for him to turn under me basically, or pass under me, and then we shoot him down. Set him on fire, we break off, and we are going to be re-engaging the Key 61. I could go for the La-5. The La-5 definitely is a better plane than the Key 61. The thing is, however, the Key 61 is extremely annoying in a 2v1, because he doesn't need the energy that it doesn't have, and it can simply just hold its cursor over me until he gets his guns on me. I'm not sure if this is the Hay version with the 151, so I just want to get this guy out of the match as quickly as I can. We do again the horizontal turn instead of the vertical one. He's basically stalled out. He put all his eggs in a basket trying to gun me down there, and we are just going to be spraying him down. Put him into a flat spin, double tap his cockpit, and down he goes. And now we are going to go finish it off and 1v1 this La-5. We dodge his guns, and the La-5 really has a very little chance here. I have more energy than him, so I have all the cars that I need. We're going to be putting it into a little bit of vertical, trying to get behind him without wasting too much energy. But I noticed that he's actually so much slower than me that, well, he just gets behind me again. So we are going to be cutting throttle, because I want to kill this guy as quickly as I can. I don't want to stall him out for my teammate, because I'm greedy and I want to showcase what this plane can do. So instead I'm trying to roll behind him, and I was 1 or 2 turns away from killing him. And then my teammate comes full commit head on, gets himself killed, and the La-5 kills himself as well, but he didn't really have much choice there. The La-5 was forced to break off, because if he didn't, he would have died to that guy, but the P-51 really threw the game there, for himself at least. We still won, Oh no, we lost because there was a guy at 8 kilometers and we lost on tickets because, you know, well, tickets go down by themselves without any player interaction, which is definitely a good mechanic. And here comes the P-51, and I'm not necessarily scared of fighting the P-51. The problem is he's quite close to the airfield, and that PBJ has been flying next to his fighters the entire game, which made it so that I couldn't really fight anyone, because the second I start stall fighting, even the PBJ will be able to kill you. So, the biggest piece of information that I have right here is that it's not a P-51D. It's a 3.7 Cannon Mustang, and that thing, and I will be making a video on that pretty quickly as well. I already got the footage, but that's not what this video is about. He's going to be catching me in a little bit here, well, because I want him to catch me. I want to get this guy away from the airfield, and I want this guy to engage in a dogfight with me. So I get a little bit of separation between him and the PBJ for as long as I can without making him scared, because I know that if I start outrunning him too hard, he's probably going to break off and go back to his airfield, because that's what he has been doing for the last 2 minutes. So we start a little bit of a turn here, waiting for the PBJ. He broke off, which is perfect, because now we can start turning in here and disguise our energy advantage. I'm going to be turning into him here. I'm not going to go head on because I don't want him to break off. I want him to stick this fight completely. He's going to be diving on us. He won't have any rudder and he will compress quite badly. But what we will do, however, is do a split hash, go back up, and he's going to pass right in front of us. He's crit at this point. He's still a little bit faster, but I have a lot better energy retention and I have a lot better of a climb rate. So I'm on a 6 now, and it's basically a free kill. All I need to do now is just secure this kill and make sure that the PBJ doesn't interrupt us. That's a kill, and now we go for the PBJ. But I noticed that there is an XP50 right next to him, and that's something I don't really want to fight. But in reality, it doesn't really matter because he's simply not fast enough. PBJ is trying to cut me off here, he's trying to catch me. It's simply not going to happen. This thing is mighty fast for a 4.7, and you can tell. I'm going 582, and we're still slowly picking up speed. I have a damaged engine cowling from a BV238 at the start of the game. And this thing is just fast. It really is fast, and the PBJ is not going to be catching that. XP50 has a little bit of energy here, has a little bit of altitude, so he can start diving on me. But I'm not really too worried about it, and I'm just extending at this point until I see that PBJ break off, and now we have a little bit of a secluded 1v1 versus the XP50. And I can play this safe, I can play this normally, and I can play this the correct way, or I'm gonna have a little bit of fun. And the second thing is exactly what we are gonna be doing, and this is why I put this at the end of the video, not at the start, because I don't want to showcase a wrong example. It's simply a matter of trying to outplay the guy in a superior plane, in this very instant at least. The La-7 in itself is a better plane, but in his position I would much rather be in the XP50 in a way that I'm going to be forcing this fight. So the XP50 is going decently fast, and know that he also rips around the same speed, and I'm urging my team to go for the PBJ. And why is this? Because I want to 1v1 this guy in peace, but I also want to make it so that the PBJ doesn't have time to go back to the airfield and then camp it and win tickets. So we go low again, we force this guy to break off by either ripping, throttling down or anything, and I just throw the shot here, which is a problem. And I'm gonna get another shot here, and again I throw it because of misinput on my controller, on my keyboard. And now we are in a spot which I really didn't want to be in. The thing is, I'm still on the 6, and I can flat turn this guy. The XP50 in terms of rate fighting isn't the best. It's not a bad plane, but it loses a lot of speed in these kind of maneuvers. And I have a little bit of position here because I'm directly behind him. Sure, I'm lower than him, but I can use the fact that I'm below and a little bit behind him to start cutting into his loops. And this bleeds my energy away, and I only have a few chances of doing this, because if I do it too much, I will simply stall myself out. I'm trying to secure some position here by going up and down until I notice a little bit of a chink in his defense here, which is just holding S for some reason. But now I'm in a very good spot. He's going very slow. I'm going to be pulling up over his loop. I drop these flaps. I'm cutting off into his stern, and I will be able to gun him down. Was that a pretty fight? Definitely not. But sometimes you are just in a bad spot and you need to squirm yourself out of it. Now I killed the XP50, my team is gonna make it in time to the PPJ, just 4 kilometers before he gets into AA range, and it will win us the game. There's only like 10 minutes left on the clock, 15, not sure how much time there's left, but I don't want to lose another game to tickets, because lately so many games have been lost to tickets by just one guy sitting on the runway, J'ing out for 10 to 15 minutes straight, and because they had a slight ticket advantage and the only thing I was able to kill was one medium tank per takeoff, tickets drain themselves, match ends itself, and it's just a loss, and there's nothing I can do. And you can tell, or you can say, just kill the attackers at the start of the game. And there's a little problem with this. The attackers will be able to kill 5 to 10 units before I'm even there, because they get a forward air spawn. There is no counterplay, it's an absolute bullshit mechanic, and, well, quite frankly, I don't agree with it. But that's a video for another time. Hope you enjoyed it, hope it was helpful, and I will see you all in the next one.